All right. Well, first of all, welcome to MBT. This is I haven't done a podcast in a little bit. It's been we've had a couple of different shorts that we've been posting and everything. Recap on MBT. MBT is this platform to encourage our young adults, our people that are all generations, but more specifically for our generation, right in our age range. I see a lot of different people struggling with identity issues and especially just confusion in today's society. Society doesn't make it easy for people to actually understand the roles that they're supposed to play. I mean, we go to according to a biblical standpoint. Yeah. We're both Christian. As you guys already know, I'm Christian. I could actually say I'm finally. I'll take the title as influencer. I'll take. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to take the title as influencer. A couple years ago because I felt like the title of being an influencer was so interesting in the way that people would kind of abuse that for good and bad. I just saw this misconception of like good influencers, and then there was people that say that they were influencers, but they're like really not. They're just talking. You know, there was like no purpose to what they were actually doing.
Like the podcast bros on YouTube where it's like, did you know that the pyramids were actually like secret antennas to contact the aliens? And it has that like X-Files music playing behind it.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. So like, when we post content, our content is to encourage you guys. It is to give you direction. If it gives you purpose, you're in the right place. And I believe that anybody that will be watching this podcast is in the right place. You're going to want to stick around. And hey, little emergency meeting here. I gotta just say, for all y'all that are on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, especially TikTok, I'm talking to you all because let's just pull up some of the stats real quick. And here's the thing, I love what's going on. I love the content we're putting out and everything. Let me just skip this ad, but we got 717 likes because we're new. We just started. Mm-hmm. But out of those 717 likes, we only got 50 followers.
How could you?
Hold on a second. So I know y'all are liking the content, but we need you to follow, because if you don't follow, we can't go live on TikTok, and we need to be able to start going live on TikTok and start actually answering some questions from maybe outside of our community that is just popping in, and maybe they want to know a little bit more about MBT, or maybe they want to know a little bit more about the truth. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, y'all just follow. Please. If you're gonna like the video, just follow, please. But hey, I want to kick it off with a couple of things here.
All right.
Isaac, this is Isaac. He is an amazing, incredible man of God. He is a drummer, and we've done a lot of events together. And me being a worship leader, it was really, really cool to see you come and just play at the first event that we did. It was kind of like this get together type.
The ACU.
You remember?
No, the coffee shop.
Yeah, the coffee shop. It was the coffee shop. So I guess we could talk about a little bit about how we met, our backstory, and kind of your thoughts on. Well, this would be fun. Do your first impressions of me. It's okay. Just let it fly.
So, okay. I originally met our buddy Gabe here because a mutual friend of ours, Zach Bloom, just started handing out my number to people without telling me. So I just received this super random text from this dude I don't know, like, hey, Isaac, I've seen some of your stuff, and I was hoping that you could come do this, this, and this. I was like, I have no clue who's talking to me right now. I have no clue who's texting me. I was like, is this someone who I should report to the police?
Oh, man.
So after being like, oh, this is Gabe Garcia, I think I might know this dude.
Yeah.
I think the first thing you asked me to do was the ACU event, but we had the rehearsal in the coffee shop. Mm-hmm. And I pulled up, and I was so lost because I had no idea who 90% of these people were.
Yeah.
I didn't know you, and everything was just moving so quickly that I didn't really get to introduce myself to anyone or figure out who anyone was.
Yeah. Yeah, that was rough. Yeah.
But after doing the Ignite Fire event at ACU, and then a couple other things here and there, I like to think that I have an idea of who Gabe Garcia is now. There's maybe an inkling.
Yeah, you got about a small percentage of who Gabe Garcia. Dude, that's so funny. and really, what's cool is we came from the same church and stuff. I had led at that campus. Shout out to Pure Heart Peoria. You know, they're doing amazing things. That's where he's at right now. So if you're looking for a church, you know, there's many options, but I would highly recommend the worship is good over there. Oh, yeah. They're going to give you the gospel. That's what's going to happen.
No holds barred.
Yeah, there's no holds barred with that place, which is awesome. I believe that's how it's supposed to be. You know, you'll get the love and the grace, you know, but you're going to get the truth. You're going to get the truth. Come on. They're doing some MBT over there at Pure Heart Peoria.
Oh, yeah.
So shout out to both campuses. But I always love Pure Heart Peoria. Their worship is just awesome. It's like that elevated Holy Spirit. You could just definitely tell the Holy Spirit's present.
Oh, yeah.
So we kind of connected through that. And so my part of that was I was like, okay, I really, really need a drummer. And I was like, everybody is so busy. I was like, what am I going to do? And I was like, oh, I guess I'll hit up Isaac. I was like, I knew who you were. I was very aware of who you were, and you know how amazing your gifting is to be able to drum and just like, you know, for ministry and stuff and for the Lord. So I was like, I'm gonna send you a text.
So long story short, he was stalking me, and then through stalking me, he was like, you know, this guy's pretty cool.
I did what probably any worship leader would do, and it was let's connect. Come play an event, see if you like it. And no, but seriously, it's been awesome to be able to go on this journey together in ministry and stuff. I think we've been able to go through a lot of different things, but we've both grown since the very beginning. Oh my gosh, man.
It's crazy.
Like the first event that we ever did.
That was just back in May, right?
Yeah.
It feels like it was like way longer
ago. Which is crazy because I've been doing, so shout out to Ignite Fire. We know we're right now, you'll see the background for Ignite Fire. Jacob Alvarado, the founder of Ignite Fire, allowed us to be able to host our MBT podcast here. And so I'm pretty sure Ignite Fire Studios is going to be coming up pretty soon, which would be
Ignite Fire Studios.
Ignite Fire Studios might be making an appearance where, hey, anybody looking to do podcast recording, or you know, anybody looking to do music recording, or anybody that wants to do, you know, evangelism and get out there in the community and doesn't have the, you know, the financial support or maybe the equipment, this is the place to contact because, hey, we've been doing it for a little over a year now, and we've been very, very blessed with all kinds of equipment. The fact that, you know, we even have this podcast space available is awesome. I mean, there's so much that goes into it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's kind of like the cool little, every podcast has their little icebreaker. Like, this is the icebreaker. It's like, now we got to get into the...
Now we're in a podcast.
Yeah, now we're in a true podcast. We got to get into the real stuff. Well, dude, yeah, I had a couple of notes here, and you know, now that our audience has kind of gotten a little picture of me and you, a couple of the questions I had was, what was, well, first of all, let me see here. Your relationship, let's go with your relationship with God, you know. How is that? Has it always been easy?
No. Oh my gosh. So I grew up as like the textbook pastor's kid.
Yeah.
Right? Like the pubrat is like running around acting like I own the place.
Yeah.
Just cause, you know, it's like the story of the sons who were transporting the ark.
Yeah.
They got so casual with the presence of God that it wasn't sacred anymore. Right? I was so used to constantly being surrounded by the presence of the Lord and the idea of God, that it just kind of became like another thing to me, right?
It was just there.
Yeah, it was just there, but it wasn't something that I truly grasped the nature of
and the value of it.
Yeah, the value.
Got you.
So for a majority of my life, I was like super lukewarm about it. Like, kind of in and out, like, you know, show up to church on Sundays, do my thing, pull out, do whatever I wanted for the next week, and then get back in acting like I loved God on Sundays, you know, as a lot of people do.
So you're kind of like a part-time Christian.
Yeah. This is my weekend gig.
Yeah.
But I think it really clicked for me when I moved here to Arizona, actually. Like this was a super long period of my life. And like, I always had these moments of like, trying to connect to God, and then falling off just because like I felt so casual with it, felt like I could never really get it, you know?
Yeah.
Like I had all this knowledge about it, but I still didn't really know the character of Jesus or who God was. But I had like an idea of who he was, but I didn't personally know it, right?
Got you.
So I moved here to Arizona in 2021, and this is right after my entire world is rocked by some crazy circumstances.
Oh, wow.
Lots of ridiculous family issues, but like my entire perception of the world has been shattered at this point.
Yeah.
Like I don't know who I am. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why we moved. I was super upset about it because I was comfortable where I was.
Yeah,
And that was part of it, right? Like I was so lukewarm because I was comfortable.
Yeah.
Right. So then I come here to Arizona in July of 2021. Everything I know is basically thrown out the window.
Just tossed out the window.
I'm just lost.
Yeah.
And I think it was, it was probably right around when I was like in one of the worst places of my life. I think it was
Yeah.
when I started really, really gaining weight. Because when I moved here to Arizona, it was about 250 pounds. I got to like 280 here. And then I stopped counting.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, why am I even here? And I started to seriously have those thoughts of like,
Yeah.
why am I here? Why should I even be here?
Yeah.
Should I even be here? Is there a point?
Because there's like your
being
purpose
here?
is lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like really debating whether or not like it was worth being on the planet.
Yeah.
And I was like, dog, it doesn't matter. None of it
Yeah.
matters.
Right.
And then it's always in the lowest points where God finds you.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. I was, up super, super late, as I pretty much always was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just remember being so done with it. I'm like, God, if you're there, if there's anything that's worth keeping me on the face of the planet for,
Yeah.
you got to tell me right now, or it's done.
Yeah.
And then I believe it was Isaiah 42, but it was basically talking about how when God promises something,
Yeah.
he doesn't forget it. And every promise that he has made, he will fulfill. And it was like, it was all these memories of like promises that were made to me in my childhood that I didn't
Yeah.
even remember.
Wow.
It started flooding back to me on how he was going to use me, his plans on my life, like everything that he had in store for me.
Yeah.
And then like, it's always a battle, and I was kind of in and out of it from that point, but that was like the turning point.
Yeah.
Right. That's where I was really wanting to chase after the love of God.
Yeah.
Right. So now it's just kind of the daily chase, I guess you could say, after God's character,
Yeah.
just because that's so much more fulfilling.
Yeah.
Getting to know who God is and his love for me has been the most fulfilling thing that I've ever known. Most fulfilling thing that I've ever done. And it's just awesome.
Yeah, dude, that is so good. Wow. I mean, and this is why this platform exists. I didn't go into it too much in depth the first time I launched the platform for MBT, but I was at a pivoting point in my life where I looked at society and I looked at our generation and I saw just so much confusion and just lack of hope for a future.
Yeah, the doomers.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if that's you watching this podcast now, I just want to say that God does have a plan for you.
Oh yeah.
He has a plan for you. And no matter how much you think that because of what you've done or what you've thought or what you look at or anything that you could possibly do is never big enough or never too big for God to turn around.
Absolutely.
And have that revival in your life, and a lot of our podcasts that we've made, especially with like Ignite Fire, we've talked a little bit about this stuff. This is going to be new for MBT because, I launched it and then we kind of touched base on a lot of this stuff. But truthfully, out of all the shorts that you may watch and everything and all the encouragement, and that's the other thing too, is like I've expressed this on all of my platforms. I have this bold love for people. it doesn't always feel good. Let me just tell you that again and reiterate it. It doesn't always feel good. What I may say or how I may go about it may not be this like, come here, let me give you a hug. Sometimes it's like, hey, get it together.
Oh yeah.
Come on. You are in a very sick cycle and you got to get out of that, man.
Oh yeah.
But and for some people, that's what they need.
It's a rude awakening.
For some people, they need that rude awakening.
Absolutely.
But for some others too, I would also like you to talk about, you had mentioned you were pushing like 280 and then you stopped counting and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, like what was the moment where you were like, I have to change this?
Yeah.
What was that? What was that moment for you?
So, bit of backstory to this.
Yeah.
My entire life, I was kind of always like the big kid.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was always like relatively chubby. I'd like to describe it in the nicest way possible. But that's just kind of the way I was like my entire life. It's just kind of like a fact that I accepted. Like I was like, this is just the way it is. And I blamed it on like genetics. I blamed it on circumstance. I blamed it on so many things that were outside of my control.
Gotcha.
Just because that was easier. That was easier than actually doing anything about it. Right.
Yeah.
So then I got into this very unhealthy relationship around the beginning of 2022.
Yeah.
And that only furthered this kind of like just unhealthy, toxic mindset towards myself.
Got you.
Because the way that this relationship was heading, it was like I wasn't putting any focus on myself because I felt like this other person, if I took focus off of them at any moment, it was like a spiral that could happen at any time.
You.
And I was so concerned
Yeah.
with like their well-being that I wasn't concerned with my well-being at all. Right.
Yeah.
And after some thorough evaluation, I had to cut it off. I was like, that was almost a year in that relationship, and it was just so unhealthy for me and toxic for me. And I don't want to say like the other person was inherently toxic or that it was like a bad relationship,
Right.
but it just wasn't right.
Yeah.
And
it's not the one for you, bro.
Yeah, it was birthed out of rebellion, and I tried to make it right along the way, but I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then just a year in this unhealthy, toxic mindset of not even trying to focus on myself.
Yeah.
After it ended, my first priority was improving myself. Right. And the thing that I wanted to focus on first was getting to a point where I could actually love myself.
Yeah.
Because that has been easily one of my biggest struggles my entire life. Like there are so many reasons to call myself like unworthy or undeserving of love.
Yeah.
But there are just as many reasons that I do deserve love. And I deserve to be happy, right?
Yeah.
Just everyone does.
It's your self-worth, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the best thing I ever heard concerning self-worth and self-love is you don't have to love yourself today. You don't have to love yourself right now, but create a version of yourself that you want to be in the future and fall in love with that person. Then do things for that person every day
Yeah.
to become that person.
Yeah.
And then one day you're this person that you fell in love with a year ago.
Yeah.
And now you love yourself. And that's how I started this whole weight loss journey, is because I loved myself. I got to the point of loving myself that I could do hard things because I know I'd thank myself for it later. Right.
That's good.
So after going on this like kind of 2-month-long journey of just learning how to love myself and care for myself.
Yeah.
I was like, first thing I got to do is I got to focus on my physical health. Cause I was like at least 280, 285. I stopped counting. So I don't know exactly how high I got, but I was,
could have been at 290. Like
I was heavy, dog. I was huge. But like I was dipping in like the 2XL territory. Like I was big.
Yeah. By the way, just so you guys know, that's not healthy.
Yeah. Just in case you couldn't tell.
Because there's so many things on social media, just like, just be happy with yourself. And, you don't have to change anything about yourself. And it's like, look, bro, if you, or girl, woman, because there's only two genders. I'm just going to talk talk to you guys, if you are in a very unhealthy relationship with food or eating, that goes, I know I've touched a lot on being overweight, but even if you're underweight, seriously, guys, it's not healthy and you should love yourself. But if you're in a very bad spot with your health, you should not love that bad spot that you're in with your health. You need to change something. And so let's talk a little bit about that change, dude. Can continue. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. So, out of this self-love, I started doing first a lot of research because the fitness industry is one of the largest industries in the world, multi-billion-dollar industry.
Facts, bro.
Right? But because of that, because it makes so much money, there's so much misinformation so that they can keep making more money.
Yeah.
Right? If there's a solution, you have to sell the solution.
You have to.
Or you have to create a problem to sell a solution for, right?
Oh, wow. That kind of sounds like, a lot of the sicknesses that we have in
oh, yeah, dude. Oh, my
world,
gosh.
Bro.
I'm thoroughly convinced that there is a cure to cancer.
Yeah.
But
you make
there's
so much money.
There's so much money in the cancer industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Why would you give a cure that would save you, save you yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars? That goes straight to, we can even talk about Pharmakia. Okay. We know all of our pharmaceutical companies, you all be making some good money on giving people a solution that causes another problem. And then you are on 6 to 10 different medications when you didn't need to be on them. So, but yeah. Hey, if y'all didn't know, now you know, because it's pretty easy to see.
It is. It's
a chain of events, bro.
It's a chain of events.
It really is.
So after doing all of this research, just trying to cut through the fluff.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, what they do is they start losing weight, but then they develop an unhealthy relationship with health, or like they develop an unhealthy relationship with food or working out or anything that could be considered healthy. Develop a negative relationship, wanting positive out of it, right? So if I want to lose weight, I just have to eat less. So then I end up starving myself daily, and I'm not getting the essential nutrients, and then I shed off a bunch of weight, but I feel like crap.
Right. Or on the flip side. You know what happens? Because you probably already did the research. Or on the flip side, you might lose a bunch of weight. Or what happens when you starve yourself is your body goes into this kind of like survival mode, and it stores all it possibly can. And you may not shed more than 2 to 5 pounds and actually be pretty much the same weight, even though you're starving yourself. That is a misconception of how to lose weight. And that's a very unhealthy way to losing weight too.
And it develops a very bad relationship with food. Because food is awesome, dog. Like food is one of the greatest gifts God has given us, period.
Come on, bro. I'm trying to get some of that manna from heaven.
But people develop such an unhealthy relationship with these things because you think you just have to you have to cut carbs, or you have to cut sweets, or you just have to stop eating.
Yeah.
Which that's not the truth, right?
Right.
Theoretically, the only thing you have to do to lose weight is to eat less calories than your body needs to maintain its weight, right? So there's something called a calorie maintenance, or a maintenance calorie.
Yeah.
It's basically the amount of calories your body would naturally burn if it were to just do nothing all day. The amount of calories your bodily functions would just naturally take.
Yeah.
Right? Different for every person. There's calculators online. The best way to do it is to use a calculator, try it out, see how your body reacts, and then just make slow adjustments till you find what your actual maintenance is, right?
Yeah, I test it. Yeah.
Then you just eat a little less than that, and then you exercise, and that's it.
You should be
You
burning.
don't have to starve yourself, right?
Right.
If your maintenance calories are like 2,500, you don't have to eat 1,500 calories. If your maintenance calories 2,500, you can eat like 2,100, 2,000. Because I eat about 2,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
And I also do intermittent fasting, but I'm doing like 2 huge meals.
Yeah.
And like a snack in between. And I'm satiated at the end of every meal. Like I feel stuffed, like the heavy stuffed feeling.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Being a big dude, I like feeling full.
Hey, bro. Look, me too. I'm not going to lie. Now, I be putting down maybe close to like 3,000. I'll talk about mine, but I had the flip side. Of,
trying to put on weight.
Trying to put on weight. That's always been like, I was a super heavy baby, bro. Like the doctors were like, did you just give birth to a diabetic baby? No, dude, seriously. I'll try to find the pictures and maybe I'll put them in like the editing or something. But like the before and after is crazy because I was huge.
Jeez.
I was huge. I did not want to come out. Like I was just like completely satisfied.
Grabbing
with
onto
just,
the
like,
umbilical cord.
dude, I was like, just keep feeding me here and I'm good. Like I don't need to come out. I'm good. Just keep giving me all that nutrients. Like, dude, I was a super heavyweight baby. And then like even kind of a chunky kid, just a little bit. But then by like probably 3rd and 4th grade, just all of it disappeared.
Yeah.
Like completely.
Yeah.
Like I was like a stick with no muscle at all. It's just barely getting bones, bro. Like mostly bones. Even
Mostly bones.
Mostly bones. Like I did not look like anyways. And I may not even look that big right now. But you know, I've been going to the gym I put on a couple of pounds of muscle and stuff like that.
Nice.
But that's always been the flip side of mine was like I have to consume so many calories a day.
Oh yeah.
And it's tough, man.
Honestly,
it's tough.
I think trying to gain weight is harder than trying to lose weight by far.
Yeah, I mean, you give your body what it needs. You cut down some calories. You go to the gym and burn some stuff. Now, there is some things like, thyroid issues and other things that, you can't control. But maybe moving forward, I'll get Jody Martinez, who's from our church.
Oh, yeah.
And she has a good outlook on, relationship with food and all that stuff and how it's challenging. But it doesn't give you an excuse.
That's true.
It doesn't give you an excuse to sit in that and say, I'm completely satisfied because there's nothing I can do about it. There's always something you can do about your situation.
Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely.
There's no excuse. There's no excuse. And that's kind of like what you were talking about too.
That was the biggest thing I wrestled with for such a long time. Because I come from Puerto Ricans and Italians. And I don't know if you've ever seen an Italian or a Puerto Rican, but it's super easy for them to just put on weight and just
like
keep putting on
all
weight.
carbs.
It's all carbs. All their food's carbs. It's wonderful and I love it.
Yeah.
But it's just so easy to put on weight. And it's also just coded into my genetics. Like my entire dad's side of the family, most of them are overweight to some degree. And some of them are like really overweight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just in my code to just store fat.
Yeah.
So like my brother didn't get any of that. We'd eat the same meals. We do the same things.
Yeah.
And yet I was shooting up like 180 to 200 to 220 while he's staying like 160.
Yeah.
And that messed with me mentally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And for so long, I just blamed it on like, it's just my genetics. Nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
But that mindset just caused me to keep getting worse and thinking there was nothing I could do.
Right.
Versus just getting up off my rear and doing something about it. It just kept me in this cycle, this downward spiral of just nothing I can do about it. So might as well just indulge myself in it more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most harmful things you can do, no matter what it is. It doesn't have to be weight or food, but just thinking like, I'm already here, so might as well keep going is one of the most harmful mindsets you could possibly attach to anything.
Can't do that to yourself. Like, and if you're watching this is the moment where you need to ask yourself a serious question. Am I making excuses for my mental health, or things that I thought I couldn't control but really can control? Because if you can control them, just because it's hard doesn't give you an excuse to cop out. If you're copping out, this is where my bold love is going to kick in a little bit and say, hey, wake up.
Oh yeah, man.
And start getting yourself into shape mentally, physically, spiritually. You have to condition yourself. It's like the walk with faith. The walk with faith is kind of like, I think about it, conditioning. You have to continuously move forward. You can't just stay where you're at, because then that's just being comfortable.
Yeah.
I talked about this in one of my other podcast shorts. It's like, people talk about living comfortably and being happy and stuff like that. And that's great. You should be happy. And you should be happy with yourself, but you should hate the things that don't make you happy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think being comfortable in your circumstance is what drives a lot of people to an unsatisfying life. Because if I'm comfortable where I'm at, then I have no reason to improve. I have no reason to strive for better things.
Right.